You're listening to CX Passport, the show about creating great customer experiences with a dash of travel talk. Each episode, we'll talk with our guests about great CX, travel, and just like the best journeys, explore new directions we never anticipated. I'm your host, Rick Denton. I believe the best meals are served outside and require a passport. Let's get going. Customer experience is important to every industry. Those of us in the CX space say that as if it were gospel. And you know what? I truly believe it. What's fun and surprising, though, is when you stumble across an example that you'd never expect. An industry that you might not even be aware of, forget as a customer experience person, but as a consumer in general. There are hundreds, thousands of these industries creating real value for individuals, communities, and the world that fly under the radar of these more visible industries like hospitality or retail or travel. Well, that's what our conversation today will do. Surprise us as we enter the world of genomics, as we talk with Sherry Grissom, Associate Director, Service and Support, and Melissa Spears, Senior Staff Customer Experience Culture Specialist at Illumina, a leader in sequencing and array technologies. Now, full transparency, listeners, that rolls off my tongue as if I know what I'm saying, yet this world is very new to me. I have a ton to learn. First of which is the fact that Sherry and Melissa are at the forefront of using customer experience to be a differentiator in this space. Never would I have expected to find CX in a conversation about genomics. As I learn more, I see how impactful this world can be to all of us, including a really sweet story I saw about a young girl asking her local police department to run a DNA test on Christmas cookies and carrots for evidence of Santa Claus and his reindeer. There is a real humanity to this industry indeed. When you're creating something for an industry that isn't already steeped in customer experience, you get the wisdom that comes from creating something from the ground up. I'm looking forward to having Sherry and Melissa share that wisdom today. Sherry and Melissa, welcome to CX Passport.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Glad to be here.
Yep.
Let's have some fun here. It's going to be surreal and interesting for me. I have so much to learn, but I can't wait to do this. First, and in that learning vein, before we talk about anything in customer experience, given how new this space is to me, even though I feel like I should have known it better, would you just give us a quick high-level description of Illumina and the industry?
Yeah. Again, thanks for having us today, and excited to introduce you to Illumina. As you mentioned, Illumina is a leader in DNA sequencing and array technologies, and we have a pretty dubious mission to improve human health by unlocking the power of the genome. Our sequencers actually enable the understanding of genomes, and that helps to translate into improved health and understanding of disease. So one way to think about this is every cell in your body has DNA, and that DNA is telling that cell what function it needs to carry out for your body to operate. You can think of your DNA as like your human novel. It's 4 letters, A, C, G, and T, and that is the story of you, your DNA. I have a story of me, that's my DNA. And actually, if we were to look at the two of them, there's only about 0.5% difference in 3 billion letters. That would actually define you as Rick and myself as Sherry.
That's really interesting to me. And it does, I'm having a little bit of flashback to some of my middle school and high school classes, especially the 4 letters. And even that mention of the how tiny the percentage difference is. We could have a whole podcast about why on earth are we so split as humans when we're actually so close as humans. Different podcast, different topic, different time, but there's some truth there. You know what I really like about what you said there, Sherry, was you kept using the word story. And this is the story of who we are. And that's so important to the customer experience world and story. And I imagine we'll talk a little bit more about story and how that even gets involved in this space. It shows that even in an area that I would not have expected, there is that heart. There is that, well, let's just talk about it, customer experience. And the reason that I even was intrigued to have you on the show is that I never thought your industry, I've mentioned this so many times already, that it would have a focus on CX. But the way we came to know each other was you created a presentation at the North American Customer Experience event that caught my eye. So not only is it an industry that has it, it was so important to y'all that it felt like, hey, we want to present this and teach about this. So why would CX be important in the world of genomics?
Yeah, again, appreciate you having us on. Sherry and I are very excited to be here. And it's a great question. As Sherry and I were talking about this earlier in the week, we at Illumina don't really see ourselves that much different than the other industries that are more popular in CX, like you
Mhm.
mentioned earlier, banks, travel, retail. I think it's more that the general population just doesn't really understand fully what genomics is yet, and it's hard
Mhm.
for them to see where CX fits in. And in a way, the recent pandemic that we're still all dealing with has actually helped Illumina by creating awareness and education to, the general population of the impact genomics has on healthcare and on the world. And so to answer your question, why is CX important in genomics? While Illumina is mostly a B2B company, like Sherry mentioned, our mission is to improve human health. And
Yeah.
so we absolutely need to make sure that we're focusing on the customer needs and delivering exceptional data quality and accuracy from our products, as well as those personalized human experiences for our customers. Because on the other side of our technology and the genomic data that's coming off of our instruments, there are people that have diseases. There are newborns that are born that aren't meeting their milestones. And this information is informing the scientist for making those decisions. And it's scientists in agriculture about, high yielding crops to feed the world that's growing.
Yeah.
And again, most recently in the pandemic, I mean, Illumina provided the first sequencer in China and helped the companies that developed the vaccines. They were done using Illumina instrumentation. So
Wow.
that's just a few of the examples of the
Yeah.
many examples of why we have to pay attention and make sure that our customer experience is the the best that it can be.
This is your captain speaking. I want to thank you for listening to CX Passport today. We've now reached our cruising altitude, so I'll turn that seatbelt sign off. While you're getting comfortable, hit that follow or subscribe button on your favorite podcast app so you'll never miss an episode. Love it if you'd tell a friend about CX Passport, leave a review so others can discover the show as well. Now, sit back and enjoy the rest of the episode.
That the impact that you're describing of genomics is certainly hitting me. I see it, or now I see it and understand it. The ability to unlock information to help improve diseases, improve crop productivity, all of that. And heck, I didn't even know that about the early sequencing of COVID. And so, wow. So I can see that. I think, you've talked about, or not on the show, but we have talked about how there's this long legacy of genomics with Illumina. And that's been there sort of even probably before the words customer experience were really uttered. And in fact, there may have been not a monopoly necessarily, but certainly not as many competitors in the space as there are today. And you've told me, like we're talking about the importance of customer experience, but you've told me that now you're turning to customer experience as a way to stand out. So how are you balancing that long history, pre-customer experience world, no competitors? How do you differentiate your business now with that long legacy of Illumina?
Yeah, I think what we've done just within the legacy of Illumina, I think part of that is our differentiator. That we have a long history. We're celebrating our 25th year, Illuminiversary this year, and so where we started from years ago, years before I joined Illumina, was really, in a very, very high touch niche area. We had, our customers had the full force of the small company that we were at the time behind them to improve our products, to listen to what they need, to make their research go better, to do business easier with us. And so part of that, though, we are a highly innovative company. So we have to move fast, embrace change. These are some of our values. And 12 years ago, we actually introduced a new innovative product that really got us on this path, at least from a grassroots effort to focus on customer experience.
You have many different layers. You've already talked about kind of a B2B. You've talked about labs. There's the customer who is the one with the infant who is not meeting the markers that you're expecting to see. So all of these basic definitions, I've got to imagine, are pretty challenging. So how about just ground me a little bit in the listeners? Who are your customers and how do you listen to them today? And then I'm going to add kind of a second question. Now that you've listened to them, how do you act on what you've learned?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Our customers are a very broad range from small academic labs. Even our instruments are now going into some high schools. I mean, that's how far we reach. We just had our, it's kind of an aside here, but we're very proud of it. April is DNA Day, April 25th, and the whole month of April, we educated over 100,000 students by doing strawberry DNA extractions in high schools, and all of our employees take part in this, and it is just amazing. So yeah, high schools all the way up to, like I said, academic research organizations, big universities that have genomics cores. Like I live in St. Louis, Missouri, so Washington University has a big genome center here in St. Louis, and then all the way through to all of the different agriculture, ancestry, dog, animal DNA tests. I mean, people love their animals just as much as they love their kids. And so they want to know what types of genetic, markers that they have that they may be able to, be aware of to prevent disease. And then all the way to, like I said, we've got a big new project that just got released for whole genome sequencing in newborns called NICU-seq that Illumina was part of. And, that again is we're getting healthcare and insurance providers involved in all of these things as well, which is really important because, who's going to pay for all of this treatment that is, has come a long way. I mean, when the Human Genome Project was started, these things cost, hundreds of millions of dollars, and now on an Illumina sequencer, we can sequence a whole human genome for under 1,000. So the magnitude of the cost reduction is huge, but we still have to keep in mind, at the end of the day, it's a patient that, we have to get that covered by insurance and why it's so important. I've actually forgotten your question because I've taken so many asides.
No, that's actually in the intro to the episode, not our episode, but I talk about we take journeys that we never expected. That's exactly what asides are. That's what a conversation is. That's what this podcast is all about. You know what I really wanted? So all of those customers, each of those are going to speak, and I use that term very air quotey, to you in many different ways. You're going to hear from them in many different ways, sometimes even directly or indirectly, behavior versus what they actually say. How do you listen to that wide range of customers? A key part of customer experience, listen and then act on it.
Yes, now I remember. So from the corporate side, and then I'll let Sherry talk about from the commercial side. From the corporate side, we've heavily invested in the past, 5 to 10 years in intelligent listening tools that look at multiple sources of customer feedback coming through our contact center, which we call our technical support team, coming from social media, coming from directly from our field employees. And we take all of that information from that software tool, and we've developed an internal team dashboard where anybody at Illumina can access that data and filter that sentiment down to what they're interested in, their on-market product or whatever that they want to drill down into for pain points and move forward to make those changes. The second major thing that we implemented, gosh, it's probably been 6, 7 years ago now. Time is nothing at Illumina. It either goes really fast or it goes really slow. But we implemented an onboard monitoring system that we call Proactive that lives on our instruments, and we can remotely monitor how well that instrument is performing. We can't see any data that the customer has, but we can see, are the cameras working? Is the data meeting our specs? So we have a look into the instrument performance, so we can almost see ahead if we're getting into like a reagent problem, and we can proactively um, look at that across the board of all, across the world, and take action before the customers even really realize that there may be a problem. And just, I mean, and that's living on every instrument that we have. And so we're looking at things like that that are just, you know, what seemed impossible, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when Sherry and I started, when she was talking about that platform that kind of changed the way we do business. I mean, when I think back that and all of the things that we had to do, that this proactive monitoring now removes all of that work that the customer had to do and that the field teams had to do. It's weeks of work. And those are the two things that stand out to me. And so we can act on those things with that, even before, like I said, proactively, even before the customer knows that there's anything going wrong.
Just add, from the commercial point of view, we really focus on true voice of customer. Within the commercial team, we have a sales service, field service and field support teams who are with our customers, listening to what they want our instrumentation and our platforms to provide them. What outcomes are they looking to gain? What features they would like on our new and up and coming platform. Our what can make it easier for them to interact with tech support. We're constantly listening, and we are providing that information back in, and that's actually sort of what brought us to the Arquette awards. Was sort of some of the work and dedication, Melissa making some connections for us, and really bringing the fact that this is something worth celebrating, that we've done, and we have an internal database now to collect all of this voice of customer data, and really take that next level of stewardship of that information.
Man, what some great solutions those are. I really love the kind of the listen, the act. But you know what I really was intrigued by in some of those solutions was this idea of how it can improve the customer's experience, and it also improve the employee experience. The description of weeks of service being involved in something, and instead it's something that can be discovered and resolved in so much of a shorter time frame. Now, I imagine that some of those visits may have required technician travel. Now, I don't know if there was global travel or there was the wearing down of travel, but I know that travel can really wear a person down. I know it's done it to me, and it can be nice to stop in the first class lounge. So that's what we're going to do here right now. We're going to stop in the first class lounge. We're going to have a little bit of fun here. I will start with you, Melissa. What is a dream travel location from your past?
I think our favorite family vacation that I would love to, go on again, or, just, which is unexpected. We went to Big Bear Lake, California.
Ooh.
And, it was just something we had never done before as a family. We're usually like the type of family that goes to, Cancun and just lays on the beach and
Mm-hmm.
has a few drinks.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
But Big Bear, it was just, a different place, and we had a blast. Went on lots of hikes, and yeah, it was fun.
That's beautiful. Oh, I like that. Sherry, how about you?
We are very much beach bum family, so from my past, I think Negril, Jamaica. I've been to a couple of different places in Jamaica, but nothing matches Negril. So.
Such good things. Of all the places, and I live in Texas, right? The Caribbean is a very easy access for many of us here in the U.S. I've never been to Jamaica. So, Sherry, you're helping inspire that needs to get added. Bumped up on the list. The problem is the list keeps growing. So, it's more a matter of prioritization as to where they go. So, let's actually stay with you, Sherry. In your prioritization list, what is a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
I think probably to stay on the island theme, but more of like the Greek Isles. I would love to spend some time, just not necessarily to lay on the beach, of course, to enjoy the beach, but just the scenery and the culture.
No, that's and here's something that's surreal. I've now recorded a series of episodes that haven't been released yet, so there's no way y'all could have known this. The amount of people that have answered Greece is stunning in the recent past. So their tourism board is doing something subconsciously that none of us realize because we all want to go to Greece. So let's check with you, Melissa. Is Greece on your list, or is there another dream travel location you've not been to yet?
Greece is on my 16-year-old daughter's list.
There, see?
Yep, I don't. Somebody's doing something right somewhere. Mine would be Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Getting out to
or
Hawaii,
beach.
that would be I'm a recurring theme here. I hear it, and the beach comes up quite a bit. Let's pivot a little bit. We're going to talk about food here. Sherry, I'm going to go with you first again. What is a favorite thing of yours to eat?
Pretty much anything that comes from my garden. So I'm
Oh,
a backyard gardener, and really enjoy taking something from the garden and bringing it into the house and cooking it. And so,
okay.
yeah, so it's kind of a wide.
Okay. Yeah, but you may win on the at least unique category. You know, I'm used to hearing pizza or a good steak, and no, just whatever I bring from my garden. I like that. Melissa, how about you? What's a favorite thing to eat?
I'm not really picky, so I'll eat pretty much anything, but recently I have been hooked on kimchi fried rice. Um,
Ooh,
and I
I
just, yeah,
probably did that too loud. Wow, that sounds really good.
we visited my daughter in college a few months ago, and I had it for the first time, and now that's all I want to eat.
That does sound good. May have to get me some of that. I've never had it, but it sounds really yummy. So Melissa, you said you weren't picky, but I'm going to ask you, what is a thing your parents forced you to eat, but you hated as a kid?
Ham and beans.
Okay, that was quick. I love how quick these answers are. Got a little ashen face, ham and beans. The memories started flooding back there.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Oh, I love it. Sherry, how about you?
I would have to say cooked carrots, mushy cooked carrots. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's
I'm
the
with
one
you
thing
there.
that I'm okay with my kids pushing back on. So because I understand.
And I don't know if you're like me, Sherry. I love carrots, but once you cook them,
Do
no, I'm out.
I do
No,
like
not a
carrots. I
fan.
like roasted carrots, just not boiled mushy.
Just not the cooked carrots. Oh, I love it. All right, we'll close out here, the First Class Lounge. Sherry, I'll start with you. Melissa, we'll close out with you. What is one travel item, not including your phone, not including your passport, that you will not leave home without?
Sunglasses.
Somebody's a beach person. There it is. Melissa, how about you?
Oh, I guess I can't leave home without my bite guard.
I actually don't know who to position this question to. So I'm going to pose it to both of y'all, let you jump in. But you started this from scratch. This building of a customer experience approach was not something that was there. We talked about the long legacy, and then it is something that was created. You were part of creating it. So you couldn't look to other industry peers for your ideas, as you might do in another industry, because you were at the forefront of this. So what was it like to build a customer experience program from the ground up, not just in your own company, but really for the industry as a whole?
I guess I can start. What was it like? I mean, it was a lot of listening, a lot of just trying to do the right thing for our customers, honestly. Making sure again that we knew what was working for our customers, and we knew what we wanted to not lose as we grew, what things were important, the touch points, the information that our customers needed. And so it was a lot of listening, and then it was a lot of actually cross-functionally understanding that, a different team who also maybe is secondary to the customer interaction, that they were just as interested to improve that downstream experience as we were, who were directly involved. And again, I'm speaking strictly from the service and support team, with that customer, interaction, but we started to understand that there were other groups who maybe were doing some really good things that we could build off of, that we could try and not just come as a service and support customer experience team, but an Illumina service, an Illumina customer experience team, right? So that we were connecting with our partners in customer care and customer service and the order intakes, and that part of the journey for the customer was seamless from order into use of the instrumentation. So it was a lot of listening, a lot of trying to break down barriers and silos, and thinking about ways that we can connect with other touch points in the beginning.
Sherry, I heard the listen, and that be the key theme of that. You started with it. Well, we just started by listening to our customers. Where else would you start, right? It's almost like, Rick, come on, dummy. That's where you start. And I think that's brilliant. Absolutely. Melissa, I saw you nodding at that listen element as well. What did you see in that, kind of that aspect of the listening that really helped grow that customer experience program?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very important part. And the one thing that I think is unique about Sherry and I's situation is that, the grassroots effort that we're talking about, and what made us the award-winning, culture that started this whole conversation is that, we are all trained scientists. We're not, Sherry and I ourselves, I have moved into a customer experience role, but, it's a lot about hiring the right people, and looking for those skills of people that have those behaviors and really take that listening information and act upon it. From that level down is where we look at the hiring process from the beginning to the end to end workflow for that as well. So I just wanted to make that
Yeah.
clear, that we are scientists that have built this kind of one section of the customer experience program. From the corporate side, we have all of the the much larger programs for listening, like we talked about
Right.
before, those sentiment tools, those AI, intelligent databases for that.
I like that you brought in the fact that y'all are scientists. I failed to bring that in, and I'm glad that you did. And I'm glad that you did on two fronts. And the first one that comes to mind is it shows that I never want to hear anybody tell me, well, that's customer experience is somebody else. I'm not customer oriented. I'm a finance person. I'm a technology person. I'm a scientist. No, you're a great example of everybody can be customer focused. Absolutely. And then I love the other part that you amplified there, Melissa, was, hey, it's also the hiring. All right. We are hiring for that personality. We're hiring for happy, right? And that's not exactly what you're doing, but hiring for that understanding of customer and the willingness to listen, in addition to the precision skills that you need for the role that you're describing. But a key aspect of that is that, and you hear it talked about in either emotional intelligence or EQ and the like, but what that looks like and how that can help someone advance their ability to deliver in a role like this. I've got easily 2 to 10 other questions that I want to ask y'all. And I'm struggling to figure out which one because we're out of time here. But you know what I think I want to focus on something, and it's the investor aspect of it. Because we talk a lot about listening to customers and getting it right for the customers, and the real heart part of this, the human aspect of the health conditions that have been created and everything that we described, that's great. In business, though, there's a coldness to it as well, and that is, okay, right, but what did you do for the bottom line? And I found it interesting that you had told me earlier that investors are starting to realize that your customers love you, and this customer experience thing is creating actual business growth. So I want to understand, how did you help the investors and your leadership team and the company in general recognize the tangible business value of improving customer experience? Let's close with that.
I can.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Melissa. You can start.
Sorry, Sherry. I was just going to say I
No,
can
it's
start,
fine.
and then you can add on. I think I think the quick answer to that, Rick, is storytelling. Just like we alluded to a little bit earlier. At the end of the day, it's all about a patient or improving human health, whether it's their dog or, putting food on the table. And it's telling those impactful stories. And we've gotten a lot better at doing that. We can focus on that now that we have people that are intentionally here to do those types of things. And instead of the boots on the ground, we're paying attention to the boots on the ground, but we're taking that story and we're amplifying it, across the globe. We have a lot more social media presence as well. And so those are making an impact. And, we're starting to do things like unexpected ribbon cutting ceremonies. We just launched a new platform, and part of my job is I've implemented this Moments That Matter program, where we're really elevating those experiences that are just making the customers a little bit happier,
Yeah.
celebrating with them, having fun together, and just bringing the human part back to it as well. Science can be kind of boring, you
Ooh.
know. So you want to have fun with customers as well. And going back to the shareholders, again, we're humans. It's the stories that are creating, that excitement.
Yeah.
Sherry,
Well,
anything?
I certainly won't put in the title of the show that science is boring, but that's true of business in general, that storytelling aspect of it. And so, Sherry, I interrupted you there. I get so excited about storytelling, though, and so it gets me going. Sherry, what about you? What have you seen be successful in helping advance the understanding of the business value of customer experience?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't change the answer. I was actually going to call out Melissa's Moments That Matter project that she's been working on. We've definitely seen customers super excited. And this is part of our, the legacy, super excited about the product, but understanding that they are part of, that experience, not just, that we put a product in their lab, but this is a whole new experience for everybody involved. And, I think just taking a couple of steps back from storytelling, I think the word that sort of sticks with me is evangelizing and being persistent, right? The storytelling does finally happen. You might tell a whole lot of stories before it sort of clicks, but then it does, and it's fun to see to see how it manifests.
Let's end with that, because you gave two really important, one, the storytelling, amplifying the storytelling, but that consistency. And that's something I've seen at companies. I've helped clients understand this as well, that it can be really exciting. Think about a newsletter, right? Back in those days, a company creates the newsletter and we're going to tell the customer story, and then the energy fades away over time. But a successful program requires that consistency, that persistence that you're describing, Sherry. And I'm really, really glad you brought that into this. Sherry, Melissa, what a fantastic exposure for me and for the listeners into an area of customer experience in an industry that I certainly didn't expect to hear it. I know more as to why it belongs there. If folks wanted to learn more about Illumina or more about y'all's approach to customer experience, what's the best source for them to learn more?
I think we have some really great introductory information on our website, illumina.com. And of course, I think both Melissa and I are on LinkedIn. We have a fantastic technical support team who will pick up the phone and answer questions.
Nice.
So there's multiple avenues. We're all open, and we all share a pretty deep passion for Illumina
Excellent.
and for our success.
That's great. Well, I'm going to get all that in the show notes. So listeners, as usual, just scroll down, click, don't hit stop. You can just click there, and then you've got access to those contact points that Sherry is describing. Sherry, Melissa, brilliant conversation today. Really appreciated it. Also loved getting to hear some of your travel destinations. I certainly hear the beach theme coming through loud and clear, but I do want to get to where you were describing, Melissa, get out there in the mountains and the lakes as well. That sounds beautiful. I really appreciate y'all both joining me on CX Passport today. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for joining us this week on CX Passport. If you like today's episode, I have 3 quick next steps for you. click subscribe on the CX Passport YouTube channel or your favorite podcast app. Next, leave a comment below the video or a review in your favorite podcast app so others can find and enjoy CX Passport too. Then head over to cxpassport.com for show notes and resources that can help you create tangible business results by delivering great customer experience. Until next time, I'm Rick Denton, and I believe the best meals are served outside and require a passport.